So with that being said, we now come to a very novel part of our program, which are the startup wildcards. The startup wildcards basically resemble startups that we have been in contact during the scouting process and where we see a lot of potential, both in terms of the product, the technology, the founding team, and also us as Plug and Play, as Startup Creasphere, to support them further accelerating their growth. So without further ado, we want to showcase the first wildcard that we have, the company called Captivate. Captivate combines AI and social listening to foster the right social media strategy for your corporation, basically identifying the right influencers that can target the right audience for your products and services. And how they do that in specific, I will hand it over to Stephanie, who tells us more about the solution and the product itself. So please welcome on board and take us away, Stephanie, with your pitch.
Absolutely. Thank you, Max, for the introduction. I'd like to say a big heartfelt thank you to Plug and Play for inviting Captivate to this event and for giving us the opportunity to show you our service offering across social listening and influencer marketing for the pharma industry. So the next challenge is going to be, let me try to share my screen with you guys. Whoops.
Take your time, Stephanie.
And there we go.
Perfect. Are you ready to go?
Excellent. Now we are ready to go. So before we begin, I'd like to get you really excited about all the ways in which we'd love to support you going forward to really help you achieve measurable and data-driven results across all of your influencer and social media activations in healthcare and pharma. 1 in 3 consumers in the US consult social media for health-related matters, and that's 1 in 4 in Europe. As all of you know, content consumption has changed dramatically, and social media is at the forefront of that change because it offers an additional channel for pharma marketers to reach traditional as well as new and often younger target audiences. Influencer marketing offers brands a new way to achieve authentic content creations, while also driving education and awareness. And so pharma companies are now able to capture audience on platforms outside of traditional marketing channels. So outside of TV, outside of in-store. And what I'm talking about here are platforms like Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, Clubhouse. The list goes on. As with standard pharma campaigns, there's a need to adhere to regulations across all creatives, attribution and measurement here. And because for a long time, there was no guidance on how to adhere to these regulations on social media for pharma companies specifically, we at Captivate founded the Influencer Marketing Pharma Council in October 2020. So if you're looking for advice on how to create a data-driven social media strategy and campaign messaging across pharma and healthcare, please reach out to me after this session. We have a lot of expertise here and we work with many pharma companies already, so we'd love to help. Captivate employs 75 staff globally. We have offices in San Francisco, LA, New York, and London. And we're a team comprised of data scientists, marketers, social strategists, and we're not ashamed to say TikTok addicts. We have 10 million verified creators on our platform today, and we track another 1 billion creators on the back end. We've driven over 3 billion impressions across 200 brand and agency partners, and that's last year alone. And we're a minority-owned business that strives for diversity. We are a full-service influencer marketing partner. That means our biggest USP in this space is that we are a technology company that's deeply rooted and powered by data. For many of our clients, we are the one source of truth when it comes to influencer verification and vetting. So we look at everything, including brand safety first. So from fake followers to bots to profanity, nudity, hate speech, racism, homophobia, the list goes on. We use first-party data only, and we have direct API access into every single social media network to allow us to monitor and react in real time. Our technology is proprietary and AI-driven. And essentially, our offering breaks down into 3 key areas. The first is social listening, campaign planning and development. The second is activation, management and production. And finally, we have measurement and optimization. Captivate started as a social listening company back in 2014, and we can tap into core social listening tools to learn all about your competitors, about hashtags, about messaging, share of voice, sentiment, and the conversation to really leverage those insights to inform your strategy and help you find that white space. From there, we will lean on our existing network of influencers and start to identify creators based on their attributes and the attributes of their audience. That includes healthcare professionals, of course, in pharma and healthcare. And that's across both B2B and B2C. Once we have your talent, our team will handle all the outreach, negotiation, briefing, contracting, influencer payments, unless you prefer to do all of that yourselves via our platform. And finally, we've got the optimization and measurements. So analytics and reporting, all automated and in real time. We can amplify for you with paid media, and we include very comprehensive brand lift studies as well to really show you the efficacy of any social media campaigns that you run. We have set out detailed guidelines for influencer marketing in pharma across every single social media network. Again, please talk to me after. I can give you a lot more detail. But the key points to remember are influencers can't talk about their experience with a product they haven't tried. If they're paid to talk about a product and they thought it was terrible, unfortunately, they can't say it's terrific. And finally, influencers can't make up claims about a product that would require proof that the advertiser doesn't have, as in scientific proof that a product can be used to treat a health condition. There's a lot more I could say, but I think we're running behind already and I'm out of time. So thank you for having me. I'd love to connect after this session.
Thank you, Stephanie, for that very great pitch. And of course, happy to have you on board. Really, really interesting how you can map out social media strategies and actually reach so many users. I mean, incredible 850 million users that you can reach via your influencer channels. So that's an incredible number. So last up on our Wildcards panel, we have Sirona Women. Sirona Women is tackling a very, very important field of women's health. They are actually addressing one of the most prominent conditions, the second most prominent condition in gynecological health in the UK, which is endometriosis. 10 to 15% of all females in the US are actually suffering from that condition, and it can take up to 7.5 years until the eventual diagnosis happens. So those are numbers definitely reflect the true potential that our next startup is tackling, and of course also helping increasing and improving women's health, a very important area. So for that being said, I want to hand it over to Chantel, one of the founders of the company, and lead us through the vision that you guys have.
Thank you very much, and very happy to be here with you. Let me just share my screen. Perfect. Great. Thank you, everyone. So lovely to meet you all. I'm Chantal, one of the co-founders of Sirona. We are the digital health platform for chronic gynecological health conditions. And as mentioned before, yes, we do focus on endometriosis, but I also want to point out that we focus on PCOS as well. And for the purposes of this presentation, I'll focus it on the PCOS side of things. And for those of you who may not be aware, PCOS is polycystic ovary syndrome. So PCOS is a problem which affects 1 in 10 women, or those with uteruses in the UK and across the world, but this actually goes up to 1 in 5 when looking in the UK in particular. Some of the common symptoms of PCOS may include irregular menstruation and problems getting pregnant. only 50% are diagnosed, and there are known comorbidities with type 2 diabetes and infertility. Doctors tend to treat individual symptoms separately, and when looking at the patient journey as a chronic condition, this can have some issues from the patient's perspective in terms of actually kind of understanding their condition and gaining appropriate treatment. So we created Sora. Sora is a vertically integrated platform for chronic gynae conditions. It's split up into four main categories, the first of which is tracking and monitoring. So we collect various digital biomarkers. So this includes symptoms and lifestyle data, including food, mood, sleep, and exercise. We integrate with Apple Watch and Fitbit, and this is all gamified in a way. For every data point given, we then reward our users with what are called reward coins. And I'll go into a little bit more of what we can do with the reward coins later. We turn all of our data points into personalized clinical insights, and we are a UK CA and a European CE mark Class 1 medical device. So going back to these reward coins, which I mentioned, users are able to then redeem them for various services. And this may include telemedicine and treatment management. So we offer a holistic panel for our telemedicine, and this includes gynecologists, nurses, mental health therapists, and nutritionists. And our physicians are then able to prescribe treatments which may include contraceptions. And these are delivered straight directly to our users' doorstep through our pharmacy partner. And we also offer a range of diagnostic home testing kits as well through our lab partner. And this may include panels for fertility and PCOS. So we have all of these data points from all of our users, and we can then look at real world evidence to see whether these drugs may potentially work for this cohort of patients or not. So it gives quite good insight to both the patients and physicians. And the last part is community. So this may seem a little softer, but for us, it's the core of our app. So users are really able to kind of ask questions, share their stories, answer polls, and interact with the community support system. We also offer physician approved content. And what we've seen is that over 50% of our users come back and use our community aspects week on week. So it's a big market opportunity. So over 40% of women or those with uteruses will have a chronic gynecological health condition within their lifetime. The total available market is around $45 billion, and we've calculated our serviceable obtainable market to be about $1.2 billion. So here are some use cases which we've identified, and these are quite pharma focused. So real world evidence gathering, looking to evaluate drug performance, companion diagnostic or potentially recruitment within clinical trials, digital biomarkers and digital therapeutics as part of drug discovery and life cycle management. So here's the team. Myself and my co-founder Anya founded the company. I myself have a background within genetics and medical devices. Anya has a background in mathematics and has experience working in life science, VC and healthcare management. We're joined by our Chief Medical Officer, Dr. Carolina Fors, who is a consultant OBGYN with a specialist interest in endometriosis and PCOS, and Preetam, who's our CTO, and finally Dr. Idlis Forrest, who is our principal researcher with a background in molecular biology with over 20 years of experience on OBGYN projects. So just finally, here's a quick ask for anyone out there. So we are looking for connections to potential employers who are looking for new solutions to support their workforce, connections to any patient advocacy groups, and finally, connections to any pharmaceutical company who has an interest in digital health solutions to support their women's healthcare portfolio. So I will be in the booths at the end of the conference, and my email address is also on this slide. So thank you very much and look forward to speaking.
Thank you, Chantal. Thank you for that great pitch. And of course, this is truly an area that is also close to our heart. So we want to help you in the following 3 months to achieve the best possible outcomes, some lasting relationships, and we will be there as your sparring partner for sure. So thank you, Chantal. All the best to you and your team. And with that being said, we are coming to the end of our startup pitches. I want to thank every one of you guys, every one of the startups involved, the founding teams, the great entrepreneurs that are behind those ambitious ideas, and for your effort, for your participation. I also want to thank our corporate partners that make this journey possible, that will accompany you through the following 3 months. So thank you for having me here, and I will hand it back to my dear colleague Federica for some closing remarks.